issues of that, but still also making sure you're expanding your audience or reaching your people, finding ways, like I said, this is still how you feed your family, this is how you feed yourself, and you have aspirations to grow and get bigger. I'm curious, especially being out in the Midwest, which has such a rich hip hop history, but I think often gets overshadowed by the coast as a fellow Midwesterner. How do you balance that? Because I could easily see like, hey, I'm here in Indiana. Let me just try to find the easiest way to sound like somebody in New York or down south or something like that, or let me attach to something. But you've built culture, you built community, you built a fan base in being true to yourself. But do you think about that risk?
Yeah, I think my form of resistance is creating and joy. I think that's the strongest component to it. But yeah, like being in a Midwestern city in that town in Indy, like I feel that it's kind of intriguing of a story from someone coming from there and not settling and going to different coasts or whatever and forging that path through there. I feel like we got a chip on our shoulder as artists, trying to, reach above everything else and try to be heard. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I never really started creating music with the mindset of being a political activist. And I never really kind of thought of, thinking about others. I'm gonna be completely honest, when I first started, I feel like with hip hop, there's just like a lot of machismo and ego, and it's trying to be the best and everyone else, every man and woman for themselves. But I feel like as I got older and I saw the power of community, and it kind of just built organically, in this neighborhood. I keep on going back to this festival that I did with trees, still do, because it's one thing I know and I'm very passionate about, and I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, it's brought significant change to our city. So, we have 70 some artists every year. This summer was to celebrate our 10-year anniversary. Thank you, yeah. And before that, there really wasn't a place, like I mentioned before, there wasn't really a platform. And, I feel like even the city government was praying for our downfall. Being in a red state in Indiana, having a hip hop fest, like what? No, ain't happening. But I feel like we slowly changed and that narrative and that stigmas. So I feel like my contribution to society and our culture is to keep creating and keep on finding joy and inspiring others. We have artists that have never touched the stage before, showing them how to make electronic press kits, how to do their own tour. Kids that are looking for an outlet or a platform, other than, being in the streets and going crazy, like showing them that you can use music as a facet to create. And you don't gotta be a millionaire, touring, selling out Madison Square Garden. You can make a living being an artist, doing it yourself. There's different levels of hip hop, and I think that's the beauty of it. Everyone has a unique story, and they're all over the country, all over. And I think that's something that's so intriguing about being an artist and meeting new people. And it's more than just music. It really changes other people's lives. It contributes to society. People see the value. I keep on going back to the creative economy. Like we literally saved businesses, people that were like looking for an outlet, people that started up their own stuff with fashion lines and start DJ schools. Like I think that's like important, that there's so many different branches on the tree, and I think that's like a way of resistance. That's my way of like showing folks that like you can contribute to society and our country by just being yourself and creating your own path in music. Anything's possible.
Can you repeat the question again? My memory is bad. That's not true.
No, I was saying as artists who in these highly political times, how do you balance being political or being not too political, being inserting your ideas and that into your art, into that when you're dependent on various platforms, even in the independent space, like you said, if you go fully independent, you're still on other platforms, whether it's social media, the YouTubers, the metas of the world, or even if you try to go direct to consumer, there's all these different ways, whether you're the biggest artist on labels and signed to big companies, like I said, you've been in radio, TV, movies, hosts, so many different places. And I think you've been unashamed and unafraid to speak your mind. How did you balance that?
So I work extremely hard. First of all, I'm Black and I'm a woman. So I never really felt I ever had the luxury to just chill. Like there's never been time I could just, I'm good, no, we're never really good. Even famous celebrities, doesn't matter. You still gotta get out there and get it. And that's just, I think everyone in this room can relate to that. I never felt where I could just chill and relax. Hence why I never was a mother, actually. We can get into that on a different panel. But I never really felt like I could just chill. So I work very, very hard and I take a little bit of everything. And sometimes I get clowned for it. You did that little ghetto movie on 2 weeks? Yes, I did. And did. And I have more coming out. The Handyman comes out on Tuesday. Anyways, I take all these roles and work in different genres. I was a game show model, a video model, movies, hosting shows. So I am not a slave to anybody. There's not one source of income in my life. So when I do my talk show and they tell me we're gonna pull that episode because you talked about Charlie Kirk and the negative stuff about him unapologetically, and they pull the episode, I can be like, all right, bet, I can still know that I still can eat this month if they decide to pull the rug out from underneath me. So being diversifying my career, which everyone can't do that, but I try my best. When I am feasting, when I'm working a lot, I try to save my money because I never want to be in a position where I'm working for that one person, that one network, where that one studio head has a complete say over me and has complete control of me. That's how they have control of you, when you have no other options. So I understand I don't have a family, I have 2 cats. I understand the pressure of someone that, hey man, I wish I could say that, but I gotta eat, I gotta feed this one and that one. I get that, so I'm not belittling that, I understand that. But for me personally, I try to just stay busy with everything else and staff when I can, so then I can be a little bit more bold. I felt like when I was at my most successful, I could be even more brazen and more bold and more unapologetic with my stances, because I felt like I had something else to fall back on. Is it scary? Yeah. Yes. Is it crazy? Yes. Does my mom would say, do you have to always say? I'm like, yes, I do. I've always had this in me. When I was a young reporter for the only Black newspaper in Rhode Island. It's called the Providence American newspaper. I came down on a bus to DC for the Million Man March in 1995. There's only a few female reporters here. And it was an honor. It was an honor. Back with the reunion, and I just have always cared. And yes, I want to make money, I want to floss, I want to do all that fun stuff. Life where you can sleep at night with yourself is to find that balance where you are proud of the work you're doing. And yes, I understand in the corporate world there is some compromises, but they can't be compromises that go against your soul, your people. And right, you just can't. At the end of the day, if I'm on my deathbed, covered in diamonds, which I hope that is the case, I don't want to be at the cost of, but you was a sucker. And that's not going to happen.
Well said. Dr. Thomas, I was